What's going on?
I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding. From the words I spit, so sharp, so freezing. So cold, behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts feeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up. Head down, push forward through the tough times. Cause anything worth doing is a tough climb. Cause I'ma live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I live life for the fight, yeah, I'm here to get it. I got drive, got sight, always have a vision. I don't lie at night, I be in my feelings. I'ma be fine, need time, and I'll soon be winning. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I can feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Dead Air Live on the Dead Air Full Spectrum channel, and happy Mother's Day to all of our moms out there. And Dawn, if you're listening downstairs, can assume she's not. She's only doing something in the other room. But hey, thank you guys for joining us tonight. And Ken, did you treat Dawn to a wonderful Mother's Day dinner?
No, I left that to my children. Actually, we got to visit with everybody. We got to visit with the new granddaughter. Wishing my daughter-in-law Kate her first happy Mother's Day. So that was wonderful. And a little later on, the grandchildren over in a couple of cities over in Dartmouth. So spending it with your kids is absolutely nothing like it. So wonderful. And I hope that all you moms out there had a wonderful day today. Thanks for joining us this evening. We're hoping that you had again a great day and you can spend a little time with us. A couple of real mothers here tonight. So welcome to everyone.
Absolutely welcome. We are simulcast. Are you ready with all the little banners there?
I am indeed.
With kgradb.com/dead-air. We are on Twitter, Global Radio Live. Also on YouTube, which you're watching right now at Dead Air Nation. You can check us out on Facebook, Dead Air Full Spectrum. Also, Twitter, Dead_Spectrum. That's our own personal one. And you guys have to definitely check out our Patreon page. Don't forget, too, next week is Memorial Day weekend. We will not be here for our Sunday show. So the only time you guys are going to get a chance to see us next week would be to join Patreon. Ken, you want to talk about it a little bit first so that everybody gets an idea where to go and what it takes?
Okay, once again, you can join us on patreon.com/Dead Air Paranormal. So we have a lot of different things on there, a lot of content that you're not going to see on the show, everywhere from investigation videos to paranormal video reactions from George and I, a couple of standalone pre-records that we have, Skeletons in George's Closet, and you have another one going on right now you can talk about. And then Monday, of course, we have our town hall, which is something that's always well attended, where you, the Patreons, can come on screen with us and get to meet each other, swap stories, talk about anything you'd like to talk about.
You can be with me, we'll do that kind of thing.
Sure, that kind of thing.
Build
So
up screen.
tell us your stories, or sometimes we'll come up with something. We'll talk about everything from recipes to the paranormal field to just about anything out there. So, hey, $3 a month, right? So join us on Patreon and all sorts of great content in there. We're really excited about it. It's been well received, so join us.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Also, the thumbs up, if you would, for the content that we have. And it's 2 weeks until Memorial Day weekend. Why did I say it's next week? 2 weeks. So you get us 1 more week.
Time traveler. You're a time traveler.
Just looking forward to it. And also the reminder bell. Don't forget to hit that reminder bell, guys. Everything is right below the screen. It's very, very easy. But hitting that like button, very important for us also. Hey, I just found a new show, and it's not a new show. It was on CBS, but it finally made its way over to Netflix because I absolutely hate commercials. And so it's only a 42-minute show per episode. But so impressed with it that actually I called Zaffis today and I said, have you checked this out? And he said, no. I think the only things he ever watches are documentaries about merchant vessels and reruns of The Haunted Collector. That's all. He never checks anything else out. But if you guys have not heard of this yet, check it out on Netflix. It's really cool. It's called Evil. Pretty plain and simple. But yeah, it's a really interesting concept. We have somebody who's in school to become a priest, and he's dealing with claims of exorcism, and he brings on board a psychiatrist and a skeptic. And it's interesting. There's a couple of tongue-in-cheek moments in there, but it really does it well and helps more so to explain certain cases that really don't fall into the category of demonic possession, but certainly is interesting. The explanations of what really was transpiring. So make sure you guys do check it out.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I mean, it's only 2 seasons, at least right now on Netflix. I think they've got 3 or 4, or they're in their 4th season right now. So, it's like my favorite Resident Alien. I've got to wait for the other one to come out also.
We do have a question in chat I want to address here. Carla asks also, any more live investigations with Cody and Satori? I will respond to that by saying that live investigations are definitely on the docket, and they'll be coming up. We'll probably be doing those on our Patreon page.
Right.
Okay. So we're looking forward to that. We've got something already lined up. We're just sort of getting the band together, so to speak. It's been a very busy week, and I just want to mention this briefly, George, because it's important.
Sure.
Yesterday, Satori Hawes graduated from Rhode Island College.
Yes.
So congratulations to her. I'm sure that they may be popping in because Dad's going to be around later. But
really,
more importantly, she was found to be an acceptable match for
amazing
someone who needed a bone marrow transplant. So it's been 2 weeks of preparation, but she was in New York Friday, I believe, and did make that donation.
Yes.
So our gratitude, and I mean, when you're able to do something like that, to save someone's life, or to
a stranger.
So, I don't want to, embarrass her or anything, but it's been mentioned on Facebook and things like that, particularly by her dad, Jason. So we can't say enough about what she did. So, I'm sure it means a lot. I mean, it's life-saving to someone out there. But back to the point, yes, we'll be doing those kind of things again. Probably sooner than you think.
Yeah. I know you guys looking forward to it. For those who are devout watchers of Dead Air, we could get into the reasons why we chose to do it on Patreon rather than on YouTube, but we've already discussed it on Patreon. So you
Yeah.
already know we're not going to go down that road or open up any type of opportunities for comments or anything else of that sort. We just want to have those who really enjoy them and enjoy the Rise of Paranormal team to do it with comfortability without anything else going on with regards to that. But yes, as Ken just said, Jason Hawes will be joining us at the 9 o'clock hour. But right now, my backyard is waiting to come on board today, Ken, if you want to bring that up.
Sure, let's talk a little bit about this. It was May of 2001 when Jonas Brihammar opened GhoSt Augustine on George Street in the historic quarters of the America's oldest city, St. Augustine, Florida. It's the first paranormal shop ever in St. Augustine and probably as well in Florida and the entire South. Its main mission was and is to provide outstanding equipment for ghost hunting, as well as guided ghost tours and paranormal investigations. So we want to talk a little bit about this wonderful business here and a place where I've ordered equipment from in the past, as fate would have it. So without further ado, let's bring in Troy Hunt and John Mason from GHOST Augustine. Hello, gentlemen.
Hey, how we doing?
Good. Not only you, Ken, but we know that Melissa St. Hilaire has ordered from GHOST Augustine. Aaron Bush has ordered from GHOST Augustine. You guys are thriving right now and keeping it going. And it's tough because this is not the heyday of the field that it used to be 10, 15 years ago. But you guys are keeping it on fire and doing it the right way up there. And I would just like to know, how do you keep it going like that? How do you keep it so fresh?
Coming up with new equipment. We got great new merchandise that keeps coming out. Of course, the technology just keeps getting better and better. The investigations that we offer have been drawing a lot of people in. We've had multiple YouTube channels now that have been here.
Yep, we recently had Kalani Ghost Hunter last Thursday.
Yep.
Come in, got a lot of experience, especially with some of our more popular spirits here. So, yeah, it's been pretty popular down here.
Knowing again, St. Augustine is again, it's only 30 minutes away from where I live, and I have never seen, and you know, I've driven I-4. I'm sure you guys have also. It's nuts, but it's crazy how busy this tiny little historical town is on a regular basis, much less the fact that it's a college town, but the tourism boom is in full swing 12 months out of the year. People are just gravitating to this location constantly. How is that managed for an organization such as GHOST Augustine when you're doing these different tours and you've got multiple tours? I'll pull your screen up here as you guys answer this. How do you keep this all manageable? And again, it's all about those people that are going there either being informed or entertained. How do you pull all that off?
Well, that's pretty much my job. We do have a lot of good systems that we work with. We just organize it all. I've got 22 tour guides that are working with us, investigators. Everybody is very good at what they do. We're a small, tight-knit family here. Like you said, Jonas is the owner. The guy is great, amazing person to be working for. He really cares about this company. He puts 110% in all the time. The investigations, I must say, John is one of my lead investigators here at the haunted house. This is where a lot of it shines, in my opinion, just as an investigator. This is one of the most active areas I've been in for St. Augustine. Don't get me wrong, all of St. Augustine is very haunted, but this house is very unique where it has multiple spirits that are coming in and out constantly. What are we up to, about 19 we've identified?
I think the doc is more like 20, 25.
Okay.
It's constant here. We've had people talk to their past relatives. We've had people communicate with friends and family past, even animals sometimes.
Yeah,
pretty interesting.
Yeah, we actually got the cross from the Wolf Museum that burned to the ground was the only object that actually survived the fire. Since it was donated to us, we have recorded on like the SLS and stuff what looks like dogs or something walking around, which is ironic because in that fire they lost their dogs. So
Wow.
maybe they're attached to it.
Possibly.
Yeah, and again, it's a city basically built on the dead. The history is extensive. The history is important, and we have, gone up there countless times to the lighthouse, to the St. Augustine Old Jail, of course, to the cemeteries, and just simply walked around and just absorbed the energy in that area. So, living and working in that type of environment on a regular basis, it's got to be Christmas time every single day of the year. There's always something to enjoy. Mr. DaCosta.
Yeah, we wanted to talk a little bit about the equipment. We mentioned it to preface you guys coming on. I've ordered from it. A lot of people we know have ordered. You folks down there were one of the first, if not the first, that I ever looked through the website and said, I want this, 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 this. It was like a paranormal Home Depot. You know what I mean? I think I'll get that. Among other things, there is one piece of equipment that GhoSt Augustine is synonymous with. And I want to talk about that real quick because it just might be the single most popular piece of equipment in the paranormal field. And everybody may or may not be, hey, Cody, hey, Satori. People may or may not be surprised by this, but it's the K2 meter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So for those out there that might go, really, tell us a little bit about the origin of the meter and why it became so popular, and what's most importantly, what separates the ones you sell from others out there.
Well, ours is the original. Jonas, he saved it back in the day. They were actually about to go out of business. He went in and helped them out, got rights to it, pulled them out of crashing, and it's been going strong ever since. It's one of our first go-to pieces of equipment. Detects the electromagnetic fields, which spirits are made up out of. We use it for detection, communication, light up green for yes, red for no. Ours compared to there's a lot of this Chinese stuff that's showing up on the market. I've done comparisons. It's like night and day. First of all, they're cheaper made, but what I see a big difference in is the actual detecting. So as we all know, anything electronic puts off EMF signals, right?
Yes.
Ours are actually been fine-tuned, so they're more in a sensitive spot. So they're less likely to give you as many false positives as the knockoffs will. And they're more likely to give you that paranormal. Some of the ones I've tested, they were way too oversensitive, giving constant false positives, and other ones I played with were way too tuned down, and they weren't picking up almost anything. Even if I hit it with like an EMP pulse, it just nothing. So our K2 is definitely what I recommend. It's the only thing I'll ever use on my investigations. We got them in the store, we got them online, and we do run package deals where you can get kits for them. But
I know that I think I have one of the originals from a way back in the day.
Oh yes, it's gonna have the silver on the back.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I have one of those, and still going strong, and everyone in our group owns one or has purchased one at one time or another. So important to know that if you want the real deal, ghostaugustine.com in merchandise, check it out. While we're on that subject, I want to bring up some more things right now because there's more to talk about. We want to talk about the Dixie House. And so let's continue along in this vein. Some of the equipment that may be a little new to the market, or to me anyway. Talk to us a little bit about Paraforce.
So Paraforce is our own line of equipment that we manufacture and we sell. It's a lot of the equipment I prefer better than some of the other equipment that's on the market, and it's definitely at a way better value. It's a better price market. We got like he's showing right there. That's our Polter script, which is equivalent to like the Ovilus, but you're talking about 30% the cost. It's a lot cheaper. You're going to save about $200, and it's got the same key features that the Ovilus has. We use the Paraforce equipment every night in our haunted house here at the Dixie House. The Polter script is one of our big ones. John here, he got a great capture where they actually said his name over one of our spirit boxes, and they actually said his name right after that over the Polter script, which was his full name, right?
Yeah, first and last name, clear as day on our. It was actually the brand new SB7 Pro that we were trying out. Same week we got it. We were sitting in the kitchen, and all of a sudden, really loud, really cleared, John Mason. Clear as day. It's on our YouTube page, GhoSt Augustine. And it was pretty intense. And every single night after that point was on our Polter script, kept saying John Mason or Mason John back to back for a long time.
Yep.
And they really like me for whatever reason.
But yeah, the Polter script is probably one of my favorites, right up there with like the Quad. Those are probably my two top end ones that I like personally like to investigate with.
Yeah,
So what's
fantastic.
nice about
I just want to go back to a blast here real quick before we move on as far as the K2 meter, where it really came into prominence with these two guys right here.
Yes.
We saw it on the show Ghost Hunters, and after that, my goodness, couldn't keep it on the shelf. A lot of knockoffs. Again, the real deal, Ghost Augustine. Talk to us a little bit about what we're looking at here, guys.
So that's our PMB music box. So basically, it's like a motion detector. It's got a laser that goes out. Anything walks in front of it or stands in front of it, it'll play this creepy music. One of the really cool functions on that is it auto calibrates. So you can have it as close to an object as you want, turn it on, it'll calibrate to that distance so you don't get the false positives. Our spirits love to play with these. I got a lot of activity with little Tommy when I first started coming in here, which is the little boy who would just literally stand in front of this thing, set it off, and if you use the SLS camera, you could see him sitting there doing a little, like, look like a dance in front of it. Really liked it, but they're very popular. They work very good, and it's very simple for them to use. The more elaborate the equipment is, the more energy it seems to take them to use it, and the quicker they drain down. The more basic we can make it for them to interact, the longer we get to interact with them.
So, in other words, it seems like type of device that has something of a music box on type, and it looks like a wind-up, but it's a sort of benign type of thing and something that may pique some curiosity, which is something that trigger objects, people are always trying to do. Something that's non-threatening and non-real technical looking, but at the same time, kind of harkens back to something that they may recall from generations past, the simple wind-up music box. So I like the idea behind it.
Yeah, it's a great product. I really do like that. We also offer the Polter Tune as well, which is it's a little bit cheaper. Doesn't have the coffin shape. We got one right here. But does the same thing. It just doesn't have the auto calibration like the other one does. So you have to keep it about 4 feet off. But what's great with this one compared to the PMB is that actually you can walk with it. So as long as you got nothing directly in front of you, you can actually walk around with that and use it that way, where the motion of you walking will not set it off.
Yep.
Excellent, outstanding. Absolutely. I think it's a variation on a lot of things we see with different proximity sensor animals that people use, dogs, things like that. Again, very benign, normal, familiar things that might pique the interest of a spirit or particularly that of a child. And finally, let's talk a little bit about what we have here.
Yeah, that's our Quad. So this guy is pretty impressive. So this thing can detect a little bit of everything. So it's got a built-in REM pod. It's got vibration sensitivity between vibration of like tapping on something or something walking, or even the voice vibration. It does humidity, it does barometer pressure, it does temperature, it does EMF. You can actually select and turn on what you want on, and it actually has a calibration as well, where you can dial it up, dial it down. This thing shines. It's like an all-in-one. It's a Swiss Army knife. Uh, really love this product, especially when I'm on the move and I got a pack light. This thing's great to have. I use this a lot. A lot of times when I go to like cemeteries and stuff, I'm all walking around and I don't want to carry a million different things. But definitely, this is the other one I was talking about. This is my other superstar that I love to use.
All right. So
And what another cool thing that it does do, there is a light on it, a separate light that when it detects all the different atmospheres and the conditions are all right, it'll actually light up and let you know that there's a high possibility that you have some type of paranormal encounter going on.
mhm. Well, the thing that it's also good for, we always talk about corroborating equipment. So if something triggers, and you have a recorder going, maybe it's a good time to start asking questions because something may have been introduced into the environment that changed things a little bit. So we're always looking for one piece of equipment to corroborate another that possibly corroborates another, and maybe you have a camera running. So all of these things really interesting. And as we always say, we encourage people go out and try the technology. See what it does for yourself, read some reviews on it. So it's great to have you guys on to talk about this.
Yeah, and if you're in the area too, that's one of the big things I tell people. If you go and do the haunted house here, we provide all this equipment. So you get to try it all out. You get to use it, see which fits best with use. Every person seems to be different. Just because the K2 meter works awesome with me and I love it, well, maybe somebody else is more gonna like, the quad. It's just everybody has their own attraction to the equipment. So getting to use it all before purchasing, if you're in the area, it's always a huge perk.
So there you go, folks. You can take this for a test drive. And you can't always say that about equipment unless you're borrowing it from somebody else. But the opportunity to use it under, I guess, ideal conditions. So now I guess the next thing we want to do, and want to bring George back in for this, we want to talk a bit about the Dixie House, and people may not be familiar with that. So I will let you gentlemen talk about that. But I'd be happy to put these slides up. We talk about the Dixie House. This is essentially what we're talking about. Okay, you have the front entrance of the place and then a shot of the north side of it. So why don't we get out of the way for a couple of seconds, because this is, of course, new to me, and I think to George too. So tell us about what's going on at the Dixie House.
Well, this house is almost 100 years old. This was built in 1930 and renovated in 1981. Right behind me, this wall is where the original foundation on the west side is, and extends about 60 feet to the front door. And where we're sitting right now is the extension that was built in 1981. So far, there's been a lot of activity, but mostly because of location. We're right on known Native American burial site. And there was also a plantation built here in 1605, where the slave quarters used to be around here. And we know slaves have been lynched on this property. So we know that all this activity, all this weird stuff happening here is ongoing. Every night here is a different night. Every tour is completely different. Sometimes we'll have extreme 7 o'clock tours, and then our next tour after that will be very quiet. So it can be very volatile, especially with the group composition coming in. So,
yeah,
we have experienced some really amazing things here. I mean, as far as my best encounter here, if you guys want to hear about it, was pretty amazing. Took me back. So you guys have probably investigated before. You probably heard a spirit mimic, all right? So usually they mimic one person, right? And you get all excited. I actually showed up here on a Saturday night, and I was trying to give another piece of ghost equipment to our van tour. So I was trying to intercept the van. When I walked in, I told the investigator that was wrapping up that I was just here to meet the van. We start talking. We hear the van pull in. They had 13 people and a tour guide. We heard all the doors opening and closing. We heard all the people talking. We could even hear the tour guide with her unique voice talking and telling people where to go. We heard them walk up the handicap ramp. The door started to shake to open, but I had it locked from the inside. I turned around, unlocked the door, and opened it. Within like 30 seconds, nobody had walked in. I peek around the door at the other investigator, and she's looking at me with her eyes bugged out. I look out the door, there's nobody there. I run outside, no one around anywhere. I call the van tour up, they're still 15 minutes out. I ran back inside, turned on the spirit box. We've got an ancient spirit here that's named, I nicknamed him Spider-Man because he wouldn't give us a name. But I'm like, Spider-Man, was that you? And he goes, yes, with a friend. And we had 2 stick figures on the SLS camera that were waving at me. So to this day, that was the most impressive mimic I've ever witnessed in my life. I stayed here for about an hour talking him up after that. Just couldn't believe what he had pulled off.
So how did it all come about that you got access to this place? And what does it take for a guy like me, who will be down in St. Augustine a little later on this year, to come knocking on the door and say, hey, guys, I want a shot at this?
Well, that's just a matter of picking up the phone and letting me know, and I'll definitely bring you on in.
Done.
As far as getting this place, so Jonas stumbled upon it about 4 years ago. The famous Mr. Ed that works for us, Martin, who used to be on Ghost Hunters, they all came in. They ended up doing a little session. I joined them as well. It's a little bit of activity, nothing crazy. They stayed at it for about 3 weeks, and it just picked right up. What we did different here that we've done at other places is the spirits that were coming in, we were being honest with them. We told them what we were doing, why we were here, that we were going to be bringing people in each night for interaction, to interact with them. So we've been completely honest. So the spirits are here for the interaction. They can be very touchy-feely. They're very talkative. They can put on quite the show for us, but that's what they know they're here to be doing. So like we didn't lie about nothing. Which I think was the best approach that we've ever taken. And we're in here every single night investigating, which just keeps ramping it up more and more and more. We theorize, we've seen enough evidence that there's probably at least 3 portals that they've opened here. Mm-hmm. So we've got constantly different spirits coming and going. And just like he said, we can have guests come in that have attachments like family members and stuff, and they'll come through as soon as they come into the house. We've actually had to bring people out of the house because they got so emotional because grandma just came over the spirit box and they haven't heard her voice in years. Things of that happen quite a bit here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like your approach on that, because doing public events as we have in our past, it's like, state your business. Hey, listen, this is what we're doing. We're bringing guests in here. They're just looking to communicate with you. This is the who, what, where, why of why we're here and what we're doing. Honesty being the best policy. So I like your approach on that, especially going into, back in the day, what would have been a new location.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this has been a really good one. I must say I'm addicted to being in this house.
All right, I'm going to step aside, George, if you have any questions here, because Jonas was kind enough to send us some pictures here. So perhaps you guys can give us an idea of what we are looking at. And George, you can comment on this too. These are all the Dixie house, I assume. And one shot is of the hallway.
Okay.
I'm not,
you got anything on that one?
I haven't seen this pic before.
I'm not sure if it's the Dixie house or not, but
it is.
It is the Dixie house. It's a weird angle, but I'm not sure exactly what we're looking at in this one. We're looking down the hallway into the living room.
Well, I can see that this is most likely some light coming in through the back door window, because you can see the little sticker in the top right corner for right up here. So I'm not sure exactly what we're looking for here.
yeah, I'm not sure if that at the end is a reflection or some kind of anomalous light. That's why I asked.
Yeah, neither one of us experienced that one. So unless we were there, I would hate to say, oh, that's paranormal. Because I'd have to see the conditions, because we do get reflections sometimes from the other door. It's a shotgun style house, they called it, where the front door and back door are completely lined up to each other.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's take a look at one of your guests here with a surprised look on her face. She got it all. She got a K2. She got a red pod. And what
Yeah, you can see her K2's going off on that one. What was interesting with this orb was that it was lighting up the other room. As you can see, the guy in the back room there in Jack's room, that's dark in there, and for some reason, it's lighting it up. That was a very strange one that we got. I've never seen anything quite like that as far as an orb lighting up an area. There was no other light source or anything at the time. We did have cameras running. We did double check it. And it was pretty interesting that her K2 went off at the same exact moment that that thing shot across the room.
Okay, now this is interesting. The Wolves Museum cross.
Yes.
All right, we
Yeah,
want to
that's
hear
the
a little bit about
that's
that.
the one I was telling you about. That's the one we used to have, the Wolf Museum, which they had a lot of unique paranormal stuff in there as well. It did burn to the ground. Everything in there, including their animals, which I believe were dogs.
Well, not the museum, the church.
The church,
Yes.
yeah. It burned to the ground. The only thing that ended up surviving was this cross. They reached out to us and asked us if they could donate the cross to our house. We happily accepted it and brought it in. And like I said, ever since then, we've been getting stuff on the SLS every now and then that looks like a dog or a four-legged animal. So it's very interesting because I know they lost their dogs in that fire, so I didn't know if they were attached to it. We are very proud to have that cross. We were very happy that they thought of us and they reached out to us for that one.
Yeah, excellent. Nice to have a little piece of history or a little something that's a talking point for sure. And that looks kind of bizarre and really kind of attractive at the same time. So the last one we got
This one.
is this guy here. And
Yeah.
we'll go back to this, but I took the liberty of making a little bit of a close up here, trying to clear it up as much as possible. So what's going on here, guys?
Well, we don't really know. He does not talk to us. I just nicknamed him Monkey Boy because it kind of looks like a monkey face to a degree to me, like a skeleton monkey face. He shows up for pictures. That's about all we know of him, unless John has anything to add on that one.
Not really. I was initially sent this at 3 o'clock in the morning as soon as the tour got done, so I was a little groggy. But honestly, to me, it looks like he's just standing over in the corner behind, right by the door in the background, rather than on top of the person's shoulder. As you can see with the door nod, he's about the size of a 11-year-old.
Yep.
So he's pretty small. My personal belief, he might have been a child or something along the lines of maybe someone had died on this property. We're not sure where he's come from. He doesn't talk or anything, but generally speaking, he's one of our current investigations.
Yeah. Well, what's great, if you can show that picture again one more time for me.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd love to point this out to people. So see on that shot right there, one eye looks red, one eye doesn't. So
Yes.
when we take a picture of ourselves in real life, when we use a camouflage, we get the red eye effect, right? Every now and then. Same thing happens with the paranormal. We used a flash on this. Well, the customer used a flash on this. So one eye reflected red, one eye reflected normal. And this is why I always tell people, don't freak out if you take a picture and you see red eyes. It could just actually be the reflection of the flash.
Mm-hmm. Now, is this a recurring type of being or that quite often pops up?
He's off and on. Our number one is our ancient spirit that's in here all the time. That's the mimicker. So when I first ran into him, I asked him what he meant by being an ancient spirit. This guy will do full-fledged conversations with you. Basically, what he was saying was that he was a very old spirit that's never been born into the physical. So I theorized at that point that's why he's so strong and why he's so good at doing all his abilities, is because he's spent his entire lifetime in the spiritual and never in the physical.
Oh.
Yeah, that's just a theory of mine, but it seems to make sense. But yeah, he's definitely our superstar.
Did I hear you correctly at the start of this when Ken was playing these that you guys are currently in the Dixie house?
Yes, we
Yeah,
are.
yes.
All right. So everybody that's in chat, keep an eye on the screen in case anything goes crazy in the background. Report it right away. And the one that seems to be going off with your voice also, is that for vibration? Is that what that's picking up?
That's our new UMD that we have that detects vibration between vibration of walking, our voices. You can see how sensitive it is. And it actually has dial on it where you can actually set it to what sensitivity you want. You can make it very, very sensitive. You can turn it way down low. Great. What I like to use it for is when I'm actually using like a spirit box, doing a spirit box session or trying to talk. Sometimes they're not coming through the spirit box, but their EVPs will come through. Of course, I can't hear the EVPs, but that'll pick up the EVPs. We'll actually see that moving when nobody's talking, which alerts me to go back and check the recording. And 9 times out of 10, we're going to get an EVP when we hear that. So another way I like to use it is when I'm recording with my cameras. When we're all being quiet and that thing's moving, it's marking it on my film. So I know to go back and check that moment. When I see that going off, I know I'm probably going to hear something on the audio. So that one's been a good little device too.
It's a nice way to compound the evidence collection, one backing up the next, backing up the next. So having them all together works well. Now, I want to talk about the tourism part of it because you are in a particularly sweet spot doing what it is that you're doing, because so many of the paranormal investigators that are out there, they collect their evidence based upon their own review, based upon maybe their peer reviews, and they'll post out there, and there's still always going to be that level of skepticism. You can't blame them. You got to blame everybody else out there that is putting out questionable evidence, whether it's something that they've mastered through some particular software or something they did right there before they took that picture. But it's hard to substantiate a lot nowadays because of what's happened on social media. So let's keep with the social part, though. It has got to be like every day taking a niece or a nephew to Disney World. When you have people coming in on a daily basis to investigate this place, and you firsthand get to experience their excitement, their elation, or even in some cases, their terror when they're having these experiences. Talk about the importance of that interaction with your guests.
Well, it's definitely a very fun time, really, especially when someone's first tour, they're getting into this, they're all excited. Usually that brings up a lot more activity, and usually those nights stuff goes off the wall.
Yes.
Figuratively. But when we get back-to-back customers, these guys are the same exact way, if not even more active. So if you come back after a very intense night, they'll remember you, and they'll continue on with basically leaving off on a conversation that you just ended. But really, the energy of the group coming in, excited people, it's going to be a great night.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And we have had quite a few people come in that were skeptics. Mm-hmm. And like I always tell them when I'm talking to them at the store, go in there, be very nice, be very polite, and just tell the spirits that you are skeptical, but you would love to have some type of evidence, some type of interaction. Change my mind. Be nice about it. And 9 times out of 10, they'll deliver.
How random is the occurrence where, and it's not just at the Dixie House, there are tours, walking tours, all kinds of, throughout all of St. Augustine, different activities that you were all involved with, that you come across somebody that seems to be a bit of a savant, whether it's their sensitive psychic capabilities or an interaction with a piece of equipment that you'd never seen that before. Does that happen frequently, or is it that a rare occasion?
It's fairly a rare occasion, but when they come in and stuff happens that usually doesn't happen, it's a big thing. We've had mediums come in that they don't tell me right off the bat that they are medium. They come through and they start picking up on stuff that we know of, but we don't tell our guests, or at least not initially. And one of our more popular spirits that we nicknamed Elvis because of his location, I've had multiple mediums go in there, come out, they walk up to me and they ask if that particular room is haunted. And But yeah, I apologize. This is like my first time on a podcast. But when Kalani came in, this stands out the most. I've never had a more powerful Estes method when Kalani, Savannah, and Omar came, to the point where it had the spirit in here did not like the Lord's Prayer or any of the hymns Kalani was saying, and I've never experienced anything like that. Such a negative response to a prayer in this house.
Yeah, we had Marvin was in here that night, which is our little grumpy spirit. He likes to be dominant over the other spirits that are here.
Right off the bat, or that clip right there, one of the first words the polterscript said was malevolent. Right after I got off of saying that Marvin might be malevolent.
Yeah, and Laxton Paranormal, they had their best SS session ever in here, and they've been all over the world and all over the U.S. investigating, and they hands down said it was the best SS method they had ever come across.
From a business perspective, when you have those types of responses, and people are already apprehensive when they're doing this for the first time, how do you quell that fear? How do you make sure that they're not going to be running out and asking for refunds at that point in time? Is it just a much more logical approach to, hey, they're going to lie, they're going to come up with stuff like this? How do you guys approach that from a professional standpoint as guides?
Well, I always tell my group right off the bat, this is not like the TV stuff. This is not like the video games or stuff should be thrown at you, pushed at you. These spirits here were invited here to talk to them. So coming in, they should treat it more like a internet cafe or Starbucks even, coming in, talking to new random people. So they want to meet you, you want to meet them. Just find a fine line in the middle and stay there. Do not antagonize, etc., etc. But
I heard that.
Uh-oh, what
Sorry,
do we got
guys,
going on?
we
Hang on,
just
full
heard-
screen. What's going on?
I just heard a big
hiss on
hiss or something right behind us.
Oh, I guess because you're telling them it's not sinister. They're going to like, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Check
and
that.
you know,
I'm going to look at that
and-
for review. Okay.
and like we tell them, it's a straight up investigation. We don't pretend to do anything. We don't jump scare. We don't make nothing up. You get what you get. We do have high activity here. Your chances are really good, but you're going to get what you get. We can't control what's happening.
Yep.
I did have, as far as like you talk about refunds, so I actually thought we had a guest one day coming back for a refund. He was one of the guys that didn't believe. He was, it's actually on our YouTube channel and I think on our Facebook. The gentleman came in with his two kids and his wife. I told him the same thing. Try to be polite and see if they'll give you some type of response, so you would actually believe. He puts a flashlight down in Jack's room and he says, "I bet you can't even light up a flashlight." Well, not only did it light up the flashlight, but the flashlight started spinning and then moving back and forth pretty violently. To the fact that he actually jumped up, pushed his kids down, ran them over, ran over into his wife out in the living room, and ran out the door, hopped in his truck, said, "I'm leaving with or without you." Guy came into the store the next day when I was working and I saw him coming. I'm like, "Oh God." And he charged in and he slams his hand down on my counter and he goes, "That was the best money I've ever spent in my life." And they left after only being here for 45 minutes. That's why I figured he was asking for the refund. But no, he was so happy, tickled pink, became a firm believer in the paranormal after his whole experience.
Oh yeah, I did love the flashlights here.
How do you guys deal with, or have you even had to, because of all the different equipment, because of the store, because everything you're introducing, are there those that want to go in there completely unequipped? Those people that want to go in there and just experience the vibe, experience the energy for themselves. And is that something you got to kind of put them into one group and then everybody else can use the equipment you've provided for them? Or has that ever even come about?
Usually that only comes about when they are booking a private tour, which we do offer, where it's only them in the house and it's honestly their tour. If they join a public tour, then I tell them that the equipment's optional to use. They can use whatever's on the table, whatever they bring. We incentivize them bringing their own equipment as well, as that's something they brought in as backup evidence. However, if they come in and they want to be hands off, they want to do it their own way, then yeah, sure. we'll, as a tour guide, we'll just sit on our hands and let them do their thing.
Yeah, the guides are here to do whatever they want. They can lead a tour, they can help guide a tour, they can step aside and let them do their own thing. If they don't want to use equipment, want to work off their five senses, we encourage that. That's fine. That's great. And please give us your feedback. Let us know what you're getting, because we can usually verify a lot of the stuff that they're telling us.
From your experience outside of the realm of the Dixie House, what top 3 locations, and again, I'm very, very familiar with St. Augustine, but many of our viewers are not. Which ones would you categorize as the most active in St. Augustine, location-wise?
God, everybody's going to give you a different answer on that. For me, the Lighthouse property, the Lighthouse, both the Huguenot and the Talamato Cemetery, we've gotten a lot of pictures out of there, full apparitions. The old jail gets a lot. The fort's one of my favorites. Out behind the fort, great for all the listeners because you don't even have to pay. If you go out behind the fort, you're allowed there any time of the night. There's a wall out in the back side to the right side. You'll see holes all about head level. That's actually Execution Wall. That was one of the first places I investigated when I got into town. I could literally take a mag flashlight, stick it in a bullet hole, and have them light it up for yes, no questions.
No, that place is absolutely, and it's massive, but it's an amazing experience just to see the history, and you get a feel for the history too when you're there. You've heard about the story of what's remaining of that wall right by George Street there. That's got a little girl.
Gates.
Yeah, the
Yep.
little girl that's
Yes.
always there. Yeah, I have never yet heard anyone capture anything from that. But the only thing that was pressingly difficult for me was going to Huguenot Cemetery late at night, but still could not do an EVP session because of the Irish pub that's right across the street.
St. Augustine for me, I usually go down there about 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah,
It is dead quiet. It's like a whole different atmosphere down
yeah.
there.
11 o'clock, not a good idea. No.
And one of the early things I saw when I was first down here was actually just leaving the Talamato, and I saw a gentleman standing on a street corner. Looked like he had like an overcoat on. And as I walked up to him, I was just getting ready to say hi to him, and the guy just like evaporated in front of me. And I talked to a bunch of locals, and I guess he's normal. They see him every night, but it's always after midnight that they see this guy standing there.
All right. Ken, you got a question or two before we get out of here?
Yeah, and we thank Jonas. Jonas is in chat. Says he's pulled over so he can ask questions. Question from Carmen: can you go all the way to the top of the lighthouse? And I want to answer that in pictures, if I could, because you can't see it, but that's me way at the top of that. So yes, you can. Here's another iconic shot of the well, everybody knows that from the old Ghost Hunters show, with a little peekaboo guy was up there, and this is kind of what it looks like from the top of the lighthouse.
Yeah, it's a great view.
It's a lot of steps.
Yeah, just one perspective. So you can. Another question that was in there for you guys was how many steps to the top of the lighthouse?
Google it.
Yeah, I think it's a lot. My first time in the lighthouse, I made the mistake. I jogged up it, and then I jogged back down it, and then I could hardly move the next day.
Yeah.
So there's a lot.
Yeah. My thighs were on fire the next day. Yep.
I know. I had just had a surgery done, but I would be damned if I wasn't going to get to the top of that lighthouse. So,
yeah.
Jonas here is a response. 209 steps to the top of the 165 feet tall tower, completed in 1875, and it's haunted for sure. I worked there for a year. So
yes,
who would know better than Jonas, right?
And keep in mind that St. Augustine Old Jail and St. Augustine Lighthouse are completely different buildings, and different parts of the city. So again, I would encourage anyone out there not only to look up ghostaugustine.com and get a chance to look at everything that they have available, but also take a look-see at all of the incredible places in St. Augustine. Make it a holiday trip. As Ken said, he'll be later in the year coming down to visit. Without question, gentlemen, and also Jonas in the chat, I'll be reaching out to you guys. I'd love to take a trip up there again. It's been a little while. I think since Cody and Satori were there was the last time that I went up. So I want to come back and see you guys again.
Well, we're looking forward to it. Definitely get a hold of me when you're up here. We'll definitely take care of you guys.
Okay, you're the guy to call. I'll be on the horn with you for sure.
So, guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Anything else that you want to plug? Anything else that's upcoming? Again, this is going to be your peak season, summertime, that you want to make an announcement for. If anybody wants to be involved with it, what do they do?
Yeah, go ghostaugustine.com. If you want one of our tours, we've got a little bit of everything going on, not just a haunted house. We've got walking investigative tours. We got a van that takes you inside of 3 haunted locations. We got history, ghost stories, walking, riding, pub tours, a little bit of everything. Ghosthuntersequipment.com. That's where we can get all of our equipment. There is a link there to get to our tours as well. We do run sales quite regularly. We have deals on getting kits if you want to get a whole bunch at once and save some money. And then, of course, you can always give me a call at the store. If you have any questions, I'm always there to answer anything, any technical questions. Once again, our phone number is 904-824-8840. Hope to hear from any of you guys very soon. And once again, if you're really into that paranormal investigating, you should try the Big T House.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. I'll make sure when we get Jason the second hour to tell him you guys said hello from Ghost Augustine, and tell Jonas we said thank you also.
Yeah, and let Jason know he's got an open invitation as well as you guys.
Absolutely. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you again, and take care of yourselves, and we'll talk to you soon.
Take care,
All right,
gentlemen.
sounds good. Thank you, guys.
See you guys
Bye-bye.
later.
Thank you.
All right, guys, we're going to go to our break at this point in time. On the other side of the break, Jason Hawes is going to be joining us. You guys all know who that is. You are watching Dead or Live on the Dead or Full Spectrum channel. We'll be back in 3 minutes.
Hey members, the new KGRA DB app is now available on iOS and Android devices. Gain on-demand access to any KGRA DB programming. Download any show directly to your mobile device to listen or watch on the go. Go to the App Store and search KGRA DB.
As UFO reports come in from around the world, the Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, is there. We continue to explore new cases and build our massive database. We share our information with the world in a number of ways. If you would like to be part of our investigative team, you are always welcome. What could be more exciting than exploring the UFO question firsthand? Join MUFON, find your friends.
You're listening to the KGRA Digital Broadcasting Network. We provide unparalleled coverage of trending news in the world of ufology, cryptozoology, and paranormal phenomenon. Whether you're watching our video live stream or listening to one of our audio programs, you are getting the best from world-renowned researchers and hosts, guiding you through topics the mainstream won't touch. Miss one of your favorite programs? No problem. Head over to the members area at kgradb.com for access to our massive library of award-winning content. Make contact, stay connected. Only at kgradb.com.
Hey, welcome back to the show, guys. Our second hour of Dead Air Live. Just a quick reminder, tomorrow night, once again, on Patreon, we will be having our Patreon town hall with all of our members right there on screen. Conversations vary from personal experiences to just everyday talk, and it's a lot of fun. We all enjoy it. Make sure you guys check out our Patreon account, and thank you for your patronage. Really appreciate that, right, Ken?
Absolutely. In just a short period of time, a lot of people have come in and had some very kind things to say. We love doing the content for you. We love putting this out there, having conversations away from the show where it's not an interview process so much as it is a conversation. And we have the opportunity to kind of get our own creative juices flowing a little bit and show you things that maybe we don't have time to on the show. But we're glad you like it. There's everything in there from comedy bits, as I said, to paranormal investigation clips where, hey, listen, we get a subjective view from you. What do you think? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? So we love having that type of dialogue with you.
Yeah, we even have kind of an academy, if you will, which is interesting because no one's ever come up with the term academy when it came to ghost hunting. So,
No, never.
so
Never,
first,
there's never been a Ghost Hunters Academy ever.
it's a
No,
first. At least.
it's another thing that's a little bit of fun though, where myself and some other people, hopefully in the future, come on and talk about different aspects of the of paranormal investigation and kind of break it down from our perspective. You go your own. Hey, Gordon, how you doing, man? Brea, California. But you have an opportunity to get a little background on it and use what you will for yourself and think outside the box. We always encourage you to do that. Follow your own path.
Yeah. And by the way, I see Sandy Andrews is in the chat. Sandy, you better have done your homework. I'll be questioning you tomorrow about collective consciousness.
Ooh, Amanda's mom?
Yeah. So make sure you check that out. Without any further ado, these people don't want to see us, Ken. There's somebody here that they want to see. So why don't you go ahead and do the introduction? No?
Listen, I'm going to speak from the heart on this with no script. This next gentleman has probably done more to inspire and motivate people to ask questions, to get out into the paranormal field and solve the questions that you have and further this field forward. You know him from Ghost Hunters, you know him from Ghost Nation, and most terrifying places in America. He's kind of omnipresent, but he has earned the status that he has in this field. And without further ado, let's bring on our friend joining us here for the first time on KGRA. That's Jason Hawes down there.
Hello, everybody. How are you guys?
How you doing, bud?
I'm good. Good. How are you guys tonight?
Good. Listen, before we start, a happy Mother's Day to Kristen and to Samantha and to Haley.
Yes. Yeah,
I know you are piling up the grandkids there, brother.
I am. I mean, well, it's phenomenal. The best part is you can spoil the hell out of them and then give them back. It's like payback for everything your kids ever did to you.
We're done here.
But George, like the haircut, still looking good.
Hey, we aspire. The only thing I cannot stand though is having to go out and get those Mach 3 razors. And oh my,
Mach 3 Turbo, man, it's the best. It's the one with a little vibration. You put it on. I mean, Dave Tango actually uses it now because I recommended it to him.
You get a 4-pack is like $80 or something like that.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Vibrations. We are talking about razors here, right?
We are. But let me tell you, I mean, there's a big difference when you use a Mach 3 or the Mach 3 Turbo that actually has the vibration on it. I can get like 2 days longer without having to shave my head when using that. And I'm sure other people can enjoy it for their own reasons too.
Apologies in advance, Jason. We were trying to avoid this at all costs, but
they're in. 4 out of 5 ghosts, Jason. That's pretty good.
I mean, but anyways, so it's good to see you guys, man. It's been forever.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're a very busy individual. Your new YouTube channel, which we're going to be talking about tonight. You're always, again, showing everybody out there that there is a passion to this. It's not just the aspect of let's do a TV show. You enjoy the hell out of paranormal.
Well, yeah. Well, I've been involved in the paranormal for almost 20 years before the show even existed. So, so even when I was asked to do the show, we turned it down multiple times. We didn't want to be on TV. So it's definitely, it's been one of those things where we weren't casted to make a show. This is who we are. And you guys know me forever. And I've investigated and I'll investigate on and off camera. That doesn't matter to me.
How old were you when you started Rhode Island Paranormal? You were a teeny bopper, right?
Yeah, I was like 19, 20 years old when I started Rhode Island Paranormal. And and then we swapped over somewhere in my later 20s to TAPS because we were getting cases all over the country, all over the world. And I mean, being based out of Rhode Island, just calling it Rhode Island Paranormal really didn't make any sense at that point. So that's when we became the Atlantic Paranormal Society.
Yeah. I want to, because we got you for an hour here, and thank you again.
Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about what you're doing currently. I know a lot of people are aware of this because you got tens of thousands of subscribers already. And I think you've only been at this, what, Jay, a couple of months or a little more?
You're talking about YouTube or my OnlyFans site?
YouTube.
Oh, okay, because my OnlyFans site,
double that, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, I love the feet videos; those are really awesome.
Yeah, you like those? So, no, yeah. So the YouTube thing, it's funny. So we were asked to sign and do a couple more years with the network, and honestly, they're just going in a position or a direction that we didn't feel comfortable with. So I think it's best that we all went our own ways, and. So just during that time, I let production and their lawyers and everybody else talk with different networks, and my contract's free and clear. So I wanted to start putting content out there. And to be honest with you, I have to thank Beardo for a lot of it because I never thought about doing YouTube. And then Beardo made a video. Beardo's one of the debunkers who's very much like myself. He made a video about a little about Satori and Cody, but also covering a live episode we did that Grant had a collar tug on, and I guess been referred to as Collargate, but I never really paid much attention to it because you guys know me. I'm just trying to blaze ahead, and I try not to pay a lot of attention to all that. So I saw the video, and I was like, you know what? The guy makes valid points, and he's doing it in a respectful manner. So I have no problem. I can talk back and forth. I can debate with the best of them. If you're respectful, I'll do it. But I mean, if you're disrespectful, I'm not even going to waste my time. You're not worth the air I'm breathing out at that moment. So, I was like, the hell with it. I'll just make a video and I'll put it out there. Little did I know it being played hundreds of thousands of times and everything else. But with that, I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll just start throwing some stuff together on YouTube. And I didn't expect it to really take off. I had a YouTube page for almost 20 years. I didn't use for 15, 16 years or something. And it just sat there. And when I went to it, I got 12,000 followers over there, but now I think it's just about 80,000. I really haven't been pushing it too much. We've just been having fun.
That's kind of what we did on ours. I had a kind of like a rise up page, and then we decided to do this. So I just went in and edited everything and changed names. We hadn't used it in such a long time as well. We have the account already. Well, really what I wanted to get into was the grassroots aspect of this, because for yourself, you're almost turning the clock back 30 years now, where a couple of people go into a location, very minimalist type of thing, no crews, not a lot of people in there. And tell us a little bit about that, just kind of like going back to your roots on this, basically. I would imagine that's a lot of fun.
Well, yeah, and it's a big difference because honestly, when I was doing this initially, we're talking 30 years ago, we were going in with Betamax cams. And if you guys remember that, I mean, those things are like this big and they weigh like 30 pounds, and you're trying to walk, and it's recording on a full VCR tape.
All you youngins out there, listen to this.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, and then of course, when the show took off, they started having different types of equipment, and now it's all digital. So it's nice because we go in, we grab some high-end cameras and some decent audio recording systems, and we go in and we film it. We want everybody, and we don't stick a lot of time in editing either. So it's like, hey, this is pretty much it. It's a raw investigation. We go in, we I like also doing the 360. I do a 360 tour of these locations prior with the 360 camera, because it allows people to be there without actually being there. I mean, they're able to look all around, see everywhere. And then we go and we do the investigation. But like I said, I mean, we're using high-end cameras. It looks better than the cameras that we use in the TV show, and the audio's crystal clear. There's no background noise, no background music, and none of that. It's just because the background music has been such a thing of contention between me and all the networks that I've been with, because they sit there and think, well, you need this for the ambiance, but you don't. It takes away from the investigation. People want to. The best parts are that people will watch the videos that I'm doing on YouTube, and then they'll in the comments they'll post, 2651. There's this voice, and there's that voice, because the people become the investigators as well. They're analyzing the evidence with you, because there's a ton of stuff we don't catch, but then we go back and we see their comments, and we're like, wow, damn, there's a lot of things that we didn't pick up on.
Well, one of the best things that we found is that, okay, someone hears a noise, they state they hear a noise. You can go back 20 seconds before that and say, okay, I'm going to look in the direction where they have it. Because you know the way it is. It's like, I heard a noise, you turn the camera, it's gone, or you see nothing. And if you have an Oculus, anybody out there, you want to watch this, holy crap. That is a trip.
It's wild, man. It's wild. And it's funny because I was at the store one day and I saw this. I'm like, I think this thing, nobody's ever done it before. So I thought, man, I think this thing would be wild to go and check out some of these locations and give people the history while doing a 360 tour through this property, and they can see everything. And it's really, I mean, it's turned into a thing where people love. They're able to see all around on their phone. If all they got to do is move their phone, or they can move it with their finger. On their computer, use their mouse, or you can see the sky, you can see the ground, you can see everything. If you got an Oculus, you just put it on and you move your head around, you can see everything. It's amazing.
I know. Just clear yourself of furniture in your home before you do that, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Let's face it, what we're trying to do here is set up cameras and just investigate from home. So we don't even have to go out in the field anymore. That's
you know what? I love going to these locations, but there's a lot of people out there who also don't have the ability. So if I contact a place, most places are like, Jason Hawes, yeah, you're welcome. Come on in, because I'm not going to pay a fee to go and investigate a location or anything. That's just not how I don't see it like that. But there's a lot of people out there who will never get the chance to go to these places, or can't get the ability to gain access to it, or some people who just physically can't get out and do it and have to be armchair investigators. And this gives them the ability to be there without actually being there. And I think that's important.
Yeah. What is the criteria beyond access to the places that you want to go right now? Specifically, are there any that maybe you've done in the past on the show that you say, I would love to go back under these circumstances?
Actually, I just spent last week. I was out in Bird and Bray Mansion out in New York State, and I was out there with the owners and their daughter and son-in-law, and then they gave us full access to the property for multiple days, and so we fully investigated it. And and there's other places that we're actually heading back to that I've investigated on the show. Because I've already got a relationship with these places, but I've also got the ability to now go in and not have any background noise, not have any music playing or anything, and just let the people see it raw, see the differences. And I think that's important, and people really have been enjoying it. And I think that is another reason why I've said, you know what, the hell with it. All right, I'll start banging out more and more videos there.
Well, I think there's a demand for that, Jason, as far as, when you watch these investigations, whether they're on TV, streaming, or whatever, a lot of people are like, we want the raw, organic type of situation where we put ourselves in, which is why the 360, it's mind blowing. It's great. If you haven't watched it yet, I strongly suggest that you do on Jason's videos. It's an entirely different perspective, because like I said, you're essentially feet on the ground there, but you have the ability to go back and look around yourself and contribute to this thing. So I love the idea of the raw, organic, unvarnished type of investigation that a lot of people in the field they're used to seeing, and I think there's a demand for it now. So it's
Well,
great.
and let's be honest. I mean, the one thing I realized when I started getting on YouTube is there's a whole lot of crap. There really is a whole lot of crap out there. There's some great people out there. Colin from the Paranormal Files. I like him. I think he's great. You've got Kalani. You've got Exploring with Josh. Even the Destination Fear guys, Project Fear. They're great, but there's definitely some sites out there that I'm like, wow, these guys, people are actually believing what they're seeing here. I mean, that's just horrible. And it's sad, but I guess it's just a different world, I think.
Yeah, I think that the delivery system is different now because we did not grow up. I sure as hell didn't. I say all the time, there weren't cell phones or internet anything, right? I'm like the Zaffis generation. So I think a lot of kids grew up in the media world. So this is their template. And sometimes you can't blame them because this is what they see and they're emulating that.
Well, I'm not blaming. I think I'm blaming more there's a situation out there where evidence is being purposely manipulated and faked. And I think that we do still need to hold people accountable for those actions because it doesn't benefit the field. It hurts the field because people come in and you've got like Kenny Biddle and stuff who do a great job, but they come in and if they're able to disprove or prove that somebody faked something, it doesn't help the field. It really hurts the field. It sets the field back. So to me, it's always been about keeping it real. You're going to like me or hate me, but you're never going to hate me for being a liar. You'll hate me for my brutal honesty. And that's just the way I've always looked at it. And I think it's important to try to keep the field real if you want the field to move ahead.
Yeah. I mean, that is paramount to anything because there's nothing wrong with walking away saying, "Oh, we got nothing. It was a quiet night."
Yeah. Well, yeah. And yeah. So I think that's important. It's just, like I said, it's all about keeping it real and just being honest and being able to sleep at night with yourself. I think that's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hi, George. You're here, right?
Oh, absolutely, I am. I'm just taking it all in.
George, been a long time since we hung out, man.
Oh my God, yeah, great experiences. I still. Here's the thing about it is that I'm glad that you have so much success going on now on the YouTube channel. I wish you continued and increased success as you continue on to these different locations. I mean, you're discovering or rediscovering, I should say. You did it back years and years ago before the show where by the budget you started expanding out, going across the nation and then eventually across the pond over to Europe. Now you're finding once again going back to just your backyard. Everything is around Rhode Island and just across the state line. There are so many locations out there for you to investigate. I mean, have you already kind of jotted down another 6 or 7 that you still want to get to?
Yeah, actually, I have. So we're gonna be heading out to a bunch of locations. I have Penhurst parents coming up this weekend, and we'll be out there. But then, I mean, besides that, I also have we're doing Smoky Mountain, and I have a Make-A-Wish child that we're doing something with out there. We're taking him to a haunted location to investigate as his Make-A-Wish, but we're also going to then try to stay an extra day or two to check out a location and film that. So. I mean, I think the possibilities are endless right now. I can go anywhere I want. I don't have to worry about a network's budget or them worrying about sending, 40 people to a location. So I've got my camera guy. It's just me and my buddy Jim, or me and other TABS members, or me and my sons, my daughters. I mean, I can go out and check out any of these locations with them. And I think that's important. So the possibilities of where I can go are endless, and eventually we'll see. If the page keeps growing at the rate it's growing, then I'll make some contacts overseas and hook up with some TAPS family members over there and hit some of the castles, and I mean, I'll go everywhere.
I I was going to give you a recommendation because from a funding aspect of it, YouTube's doing well, your OnlyFans page is doing well, but referring back to the last
Let's just make sure people understand that that's not really.
Yeah,
There's no really OnlyFans site.
before that goes viral, right? For people
Yeah.
are Googling right now, whatever it may be. But it takes me back to when we were up in Pennsylvania and there was a charity for 1 hour investigation. Do you remember this? What the lady bid for your plumber's shirt?
Oh wait, was that the one who was able to take the shirt off of me?
No, we didn't even get
Because there
there.
was one at Queen Mary that we were raising money for battered women's shelters, and I believe the lady was also allowed to take my shirt off. Which, ooh, okay, now this day and age, I don't know if that would still pass, but I mean that went for a lot of money. But I'm
This
trying to
was
think Pennsylvania.
Eastern State Penitentiary, and the lady won the bid at $5,000.
Wow.
Say again.
Yes, 5,000, and that was just for a 1 hour investigation. So I'm just
And the shirt, but that none of that money went to me though. We need to make
it
sure.
went to the preservation of Eastern State. Yes, of course.
Exactly.
But it just again amazing how many people either have the resources or have such a passion for this field and for their shows that they want to get involved with the individual and go and investigate. I had that same privilege at the Stanley Hotel with you years and years and years ago, and it was an incredible time. And we went out to I guess it's the music hall, the separate building.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And all of a sudden you hear what just sounded like a bunch of chairs being thrown down the stairs. It was just an incredible
I
experience.
remember that. And the nice thing is also when I get out, anytime somebody meets me, they realize I'm a normal everyday guy, and this is just who I am. I'm exactly the person you see on camera is the exact person you deal with in person. And
No question.
and that falls into the whole keeping it real. You and I have been friends since we hung out at the Stanley Hotel and stuff.
Stanley
And
Hotel, yeah.
it's just, yeah. So it's nice getting out there and being able to meet up with the fans because they realize, wow, he is really the same person that we see on the show.
Yeah, it's not a character being played by no means.
No.
And trust me, Jason is all about character. But again, it's that long that we've known each other. But as Ken said earlier on, you've been doing this since you were 19 years old. I put a collection together of pictures showing your transition of what you look like to where you are right now. Let me just play it so everybody can check it out.
Okay, here we go.
Just an incredible. That was amazing.
Metamorphosis.
Wait, that was hang on, wait a minute. That was one picture. And I think that was only from like 7-8 years ago.
Jason, we've already accused Chris Fleming of drinking Virgin's blood. Same with several, but
Oh, you don't have to accuse me.
dude.
You don't have to accuse me. I've 100% drank virgin blood. No.
How have you been able to maintain this youthful look all these years? And is it just basically state of mind?
I don't, you know what? I don't know, because when I started doing ghost hunters at one point when I was on the road, I got up to, I think, geez, I was at like 256 pounds or something. And at that point, I was just like, my God, what the hell am I doing here? Because I had always been like 180, 190 my entire life. And then I think it was like season 6 or whatever. I decided I was like, the hell with this. I'm going to start running again and working out all the time. And I went from 257 down to, I dropped down to 180. And I was like, oh, that's a little too much. So, I mean, so I've kept myself at like 190 and I've just tried to stay healthy. I mean, whether it's, I spent my life fighting in tournaments and doing all this stuff and then raising 6 kids and 3 boys who were New York State championship wrestlers and everything else. It was just always about trying to keep myself mentally in shape and physically in shape. So I've been lucky. It's, I know some people, I actually, you guys probably remember, I received an email going back like 6 years ago of somebody who accused me of impersonating Jason Hawes. I wasn't the real Jason Hawes. Do you remember that? It's because they sent a picture of me at like 250 pounds and one at 180. And they're like, you're not even the same person. It's not even the same facial structure. I'm like, man, it's still me. I'm sorry.
Hey, when we caught hell there, when we were getting all this turbulence about a month or so back, there was actually a comment asking if I was your father.
Oh, jeez.
Yes, because the mannerisms and everything is the same.
true.
Is Ken Jason Hawes' father? I said, yeah, I had Jason when I was about 14, I guess. Yeah,
Jeez. Wow. Well, hey, Dad. How are you?
I'm good. I'm
You know,
good.
it's funny. People actually have said that about Tim Shaw, because Tim Shaw does look a lot like my father did when my father was alive. But yeah, so it's like, damn.
Yeah, I find a lot of the times again that when you are to that level of notoriety out there, the conspiracy theories just tend to just explode more and more and more. And again, you had to deal with a lot of that abrasiveness during the show, during different things that were going on with Grant and the coat hanger incident and all these other kind of things that they were talking about. And I think what I'd like for you to do for those aspiring YouTubers, influencers, investigators that are out there that maybe are now finding some success, how do you deal with that? How do you not get caught up in all of that where you get swept away by the emotion of it? Because it can happen. It's very, very easy. How do you maintain yourself?
And I've seen it happen. I think I think the most important thing is to remember that fame comes and goes. Bottom line. And I was a plumber before the show. I'll be a plumber after the show. I've always realized that people make the TV. TV does not make the people. And I think that's the most important is just being yourself, never losing that. I've seen too many people all of a sudden get some fame and think that they're better than everybody else, or not come out of their rooms until they're 100% needed at an event. But it's not about that to me. It's never been about the fame. The fame can come and go. I don't give a damn about it. The thing is, I've been involved in the field long before. The field is why I do this. It's my passion for that. So yeah, so I've always just felt like, just keep yourself grounded. I like I said, I'm still a plumber by trade. So and I'll still check out jobs and things like that. It's just always about never really losing who I am. I'm a father of 6 kids, and just a guy who lives in Rhode Island, and that's who I am. And that's eventually that's who I'll die as I was. So
One last question, and then I'll turn it back over to Ken, is regards to the shows. Just recently, Dead Files now also was canceled. Where do you think the turn was? And was it the field itself losing interest in the shows, or is it more of a shift over to a different form of media right now because it's exploding? And everybody's got some sort of either podcast. Although we're rated what, Ken, 16,000 out of 100,000 or
No,
something?
we're actually 6,000 and something. You give us a little bit of credit. Out of 700,000.
Out of 700,000, we're ranked 6,000. So
Just saying.
beat
that's
that,
pretty damn
Jason
good.
Hawes. Come on.
Well, don't put me up against a challenge there, George, because I'll smoke you.
Oh,
So, but no, yeah. So yeah, a lot of those shows were canceled, and to each their own. I can't speak on why each one was canceled. All I know is we didn't want to keep on going down a certain path. So the nice thing about Ghost Hunters is we own Ghost Hunters, where most shows are owned by the network or a production company. And as you can see, like the Project Fear guys, how they went from they went from their Destination Fear to Project Fear. They had to change the name. We don't have that issue. And the thing is, if I don't want to be with a network, just like with NBC and Sci-Fi, I was like, you know what? You guys told me you were going to play us consecutively. You didn't. So I'm done. And we leave. We take the show, go somewhere else. So we've always had that luxury. So, and I definitely think the world is changing, television wise. When I started doing this show, Ghost Hunters, we would film a show and a week's investigation would be cut down to 48 minutes. So because you'd have 12 minutes of commercials.
Right.
Now you make a show, it's 40 to 41 minutes because
Right.
they've got, 19 minutes to 20 minutes of commercials. It's a third. the show you're watching. And people just don't want to do that. They don't want to sit around and have to deal with these commercials all the time. And that's where a lot of times streaming comes in. And that's why I like messing with YouTube, because nobody has to pay. I mean, it's free. You can subscribe. It's free. I'm not charging anybody anything. YouTube will throw their ads in there, and most of them are skippable. And you just skip and move on and go back to the show. And that's how they generate their income. That's how we make income off of that. But it's definitely a different world. And I think some networks are looking for people who are more showmen than actual investigators, people who are willing to sell their soul for fame and profit over honesty and integrity. And I think that's just not a path I'm willing to go down.
I can honestly say, though, and I don't know whether or not every once in a while you have to pinch yourself to understand that you are and will always be part of Paranormal Americana. You're a Rubicon. You're never going to be moved away from the history of this field and what you and all of your team and everybody that's on the different shows have done for this field. And I can't thank you enough for being that leader, and again, keeping yourself in high esteem for all of us to look up to, and kind of be ambitious to do the same things and walk the same walk as you do. So, Ken, I'll turn it over to you again.
Well, thank you. And that means a lot to me, man. It's, I also always wanted to make sure I remained a kind of person that my kids could look at and see a person who had integrity, who had honesty. I can't ask my children to be honest and respectful if I'm not that person myself. So,
yeah, the benchmark. Go ahead, Ken. Mr. DaCosta.
Yeah. I'm going to eventually get to, we got a couple of questions here that I don't want to pass over from the chat room, because
you guys know you can ask me anything. Go ahead.
Yeah, they have an opportunity to say that. But one thing I wanted to add really quickly and jump in there was one of the things that I really took from you, and even, somebody who's been doing this a long time before it was a thing, was your calmness. And a lot of people talk about, the technology, the camera work and everything. For me, it was very simple. Hearing a noise and not doing a damn thing about it except listening. And I said, this guy's got it right. Because so many times someone hears a noise. What was that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Did you hear that? And I even get a little tied up with people from Rise Up sometimes. It's like, well, if you'll all be quiet, maybe we could all hear it, But of all the things, it seems like such a small thing that I took from you. It's just kind of like, okay, I heard a noise. Let's all be quiet and let it play out. Let's not intrude on it. Let's not go running up the stairs after it.
We're running away.
Or running away. Thank you very much. But, that idea of conduct on an investigation and what you can do to, something like that. It seems like a small thing, Jay, but it was never for me,
Well,
So
I think it comes down to, first off, somebody calls you in to investigate, or somebody has a problem. They call you in. They're calling you in as the expert in that field. Not that you are an expert, but they're calling you in because you have more expertise than they do.
Sure.
So they're looking for some help, some information. Now, if you're blowing things out of proportion, if you're overreacting, if you're scared of every sound, running the other way, or just over embellishing, you're not helping the very people who needed you. And I think that's important. And I've always had a calm, I can't say I've always had a calm demeanor. Let me, just say I spent much of my life, I had to spend time in anger management when I was younger and everything else, but I've always been calm in the moment. Whether it's something paranormal or somebody coming up to your face and threatening you, I'm calm in the moment because I'm trying to keep it professional. It can go either way, but I'm going to keep it professional. And I think that's the most important.
Yeah, I think it speaks back to the idea of what we see on streaming now, where there's a certain performative art to it, to put it in a nice way, that's a deviation from what I know and how I think you're supposed to go about it is just kind of like, let's let things play out. Let's not overreact. Let's not go nuts for the cameras. Let's, so anyway, just off the beaten path there. Joe Frezza, what's one of the most important lessons you've learned in the paranormal field?
One of the most important is take every experience somebody had with a grain of salt. Not that they're purposely being misleading or dishonest to you, but that people's perception of things a lot of times are very different than how it actually happened. For example, we had a case a long time ago, and I use this one as an example for most. A lady claimed that she was stabbed by a ghost. Now, she had a wound. She had a knife mark that was in her shoulder and everything else. But when we got there, we went through the whole thing, investigated, talked with her. Come to find out, she came around the corner. She saw somebody standing there. It scared the hell out of her. She jumped back, slammed into the fridge. She kept her knives with her butcher blocks on top of the fridge. It fell over. One came down, caught her in the shoulder. But her perception was that a ghost stabbed her. No, it was an unpleasant chain of events that led to a knife coming into her shoulder. But so people's perception of things are very different a lot of times than how they occurred. And you can see that right down to accident victims or anything like that. They see things very differently than how an outsider would have seen it.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Our friend Aaron Bush here. When you look back on the impact you've made in this field, is there an aspect of that impact that makes you the most proud?
I think the fact that people can now openly talk about the paranormal and not feel like they're being ridiculed or made fun of, I think that's the biggest impact. I think that with my show and my involvement in the field, there's been a huge positive impact, but there's also been a negative impact. Yeah, again, we've seen shows and we've seen other things come and go that have purposely manipulated evidence or fake things. And, of course, so there's the negative aspect, but I think the majority of things are, again, people can openly talk about the paranormal. They're not being ridiculed. There's a lot of great people who have come into the field since we started our show, whether they're electrical engineers or guys building equipment. You see Sean from GhoSt, as well as a bunch of other people. I think that's a huge positive for the field as well.
Yeah. How do you feel about the technology, Jay? Do you feel that sometimes, and listen, I know, just keep inventing stuff, keep trying stuff, it's fine. But do you think that there's an aspect of it that's made us a little bit lazy as far as instant gratification devices, that I want it now rather than, the old, we got to look at hours of tape and listen to recordings and stuff like that? Has it made us a little lazy?
Well, I definitely think that there had, because, investigating, when we started off, there was never any equipment that was designed for paranormal investigation. So you had to take equipment and modify it to be able to use for whatever we were doing. And now you've got people like, again, Sean from GhoSt, as well as some other places that specifically make equipment for the paranormal. And it's great. But I'm not one of those people who sit there and just want to base an investigation off of lights going off or buzzing and things going off. I want to get my hands dirty. I want to be able to go from room to room and check things out. And, Sean's sent me some great equipment. We've been working on some different things like motion detectors and things like that actually have LED light strips. So you can see if something is coming closer and as it's coming closer and things. So yeah, there's definitely the aspect where it's not as physical as it was. But then again, I mean, that's life in general. If you think about it, I mean, when we were kids, we had to get up and turn the TV, turn the channel. I mean, since remote controls now made that so we don't even have to leave the comforts of the couch. We can go to anywhere. So I think everything has not dumbed down the human race, but made everything more convenient with less energy burned.
Yeah, don't laugh, folks. That was my job as a kid. Get up, turn the channel.
Hold the antenna in a certain way so your dad could get the football game. I mean, when I was a kid, we had like three channels.
Lawrence Welk and Hee Haw.
Yeah, I mean, when I was a kid, we had 3 channels, and I lived in upstate New York, so we really had only 3 channels. It wasn't until we came to Rhode Island that I was like, "Oh my god, I can get more channels here." So I spent all day long every weekend watching Channel 56, Creature Double Feature. You probably remember that, Ken?
Big. That was huge. After school, 4 o'clock.
The six-fingered hand,
Yeah, oh yeah, well,
Chiller
yeah.
Theater. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Remember that?
look, I mean, Creature Double Feature. It was like, oh, you always got to see Godzilla fighting somebody and then some other horror
That was
movie as
great.
well. But it was like, yeah. So, and then I remember in the '80s they came out with a preview box, which at 5 p.m. you push the button and you got more channels. And then now, geez, then we have cable.
Yeah. How do you feel about, and we got a couple more questions to get to, but how do you feel about people who push aside personal experiences? Because there's so much of that. I mean, we listen to people tell their story, but there are so many, just a personal experience. Just a personal experience. Like somehow it doesn't count. How do you feel about that?
Well, I think personal experiences are what got us there in the first place. You know, somebody had an experience, they witnessed something, they saw something, they felt something, and that's what brought us in as investigators. So I think the personal experiences are highly important. I think from there, I'm the kind of guy you come in, I come in, you tell me things you've experienced, but don't tell me the history. Don't give me names of if a sensitive came in and they supposedly got a name or anything. I don't want to know any of that, because if I find out a little boy by the name of Timmy burned in a fire, I'm going to try to focus on a little boy by the name of Timmy who died in a fire. I want to go in clean slate and then start my research after a few days of investigating to see if anything from the research, the historical research, can connect to the evidence I've caught. So, but I mean, I think personal experiences are highly important because those are the initial reason why you'd be there to investigate in the first place.
Witness testimony can put you in jail. So
Absolutely. That's why you make sure there's never a witness.
that's right.
Oh, wait, did I say that? Sorry, guys.
George, before I get to a question, did you have something you want to jump in on?
No, I've got a few more before we head out tonight. Let's get those questions out of the way, though. A lot of wonderful people asking questions in chat. A lot of it we can't get to, whether it's for topical reasons or a bit redundant. What's the scariest place you've ever been to and all that stuff. But
The delivery room.
that's why again and again and again.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Eventually, inevitably, we got to get to question. What does Jay think about all these new debunkers? I don't know if they're new, but spewing information with no backing to support it. Big fan of you, your daughter, and Cody.
Well, thank you. I think when it comes down to the debunkers, I think the debunkers are probably the most important part of the paranormal field, because they're looking for the real answers. Now, there's a big difference between debunkers who are doing their debunking and the debunkers who are using it and then spewing hate out of it. I think there's a big difference there, and you can see that. It's like, again, Beardo, he's a debunker. And I could talk to Beardo. Beardo and I, we video chat. We talk with one another because I'm a debunker as well. I'm going in looking for the real explanation of what's going on. But I mean, let's just say if something isn't real, okay, then I say it and it's done and I move on with it. I'm not going to sit there and, just personally attack somebody or whatever. It's just like, whatever, man, I'm done and I'm moving forward.
no character assassination.
Well, it's just, you know what? I think that people make things too personal. I mean, even when it comes down to the Story and Cody thing, it's like, okay, people believe, they don't believe, to each their own. I don't care. I have to step back because I'm her father. And no matter what, I'm biased. I'll let, people figure it out and they figure it out, Story and Cody. But you know what? I mean, we can leave it at that. We don't need to start name calling and sending vicious emails and telling them they should kill themselves or that you're coming by my house. I mean, you're coming by my house. Just give me a time. Let me know. I'll gladly meet you there. But the fact of the matter is, it's just, we don't need to go like that. It's like, again, I think why, like Kenny Biddle and stuff, why we can get along is Kenny and I don't have to agree. But I respect Kenny, and Kenny respects me. Right. Beardo, we don't have to always agree, but I respect Beardo. Beardo respects me, and we can deal with each other in a respectful manner. And I think that's the most important.
Yeah, I think that the idea, the difference of a skeptic assails the claims, they don't assail the people.
Well, that's true. That's true. In this day and age, it's so easy for people to viciously attack somebody from behind a keyboard. And I think that's new for us to understand, because when we were kids, you didn't do that. You'd say something and we'd see each other at the bus stop, or we see each other after school, and we could resolve it then. It's not that kind of a world anymore, which is probably best, but it's easy to attack somebody from behind a keyboard, and I could do it all day long, but I'm not going to do it just because I don't want to fuel that. And another big thing I think is that as people with large followings, if all we do is spew hate, then that's the kind of people we're going to attract, or our followers are then going to feel that that's the direction things should go, and they're going to spew hate.
Yep.
And I'm not going to fuel that, man. It's like me, you don't like me. That's fine. Either way, I'm waking up tomorrow, you're waking up tomorrow, and we're just going to live our lives. But there's no reason for me to call you names, attack you, say negative things about you. I mean, even when it came down to Mythos, the guy Mythos, the only time I ever said anything was I had said something. Well, he had said that I had sent him something, and it was untrue. So I tried to make contact, couldn't do it. Tried to post something, couldn't do it. So I had to make a video. And as soon as we talked through emails and he apologized and said, it was a mistake on his behalf, fine. I removed it because I don't need to fuel it. I don't need to create some, people going back and forth. I don't need my followers or army to go after his followers or army. It's just, it doesn't need to be that way, because it doesn't benefit the field. It just makes us look like a bunch of troublemakers.
Well, and George, I just want to say this real quick, and this is not only pertaining to anybody in the debunking field, the skeptical field, leave the paranormal out of it. I think it's a general statement that a lot of people try to exert power over other people to make you change your behavior, to make you adjust to, whatever it is that they want you to be. By doing something like this, by coming on you heavy, by the insults and everything, that it's trying to empower themselves over you. So my answer is always, you don't give them that power.
Yeah, and I think all that. And first off, you also draw more attention to them, but then you get the people who are out there who sometimes think that the only way they'll get more attention is by making it personal or making it negative. And again, it's just not a path. To each their own. People want to go down that path, fine. It's just not a path I want to do. It's not a path I want to go down.
Yeah. We got a lot of grandkids running around. If you think we have time for that, come on, guys.
Well, and I want to be remembered no matter what as a guy, a positive person in this field. And I don't want people to sit there and think, wow, man, he was a mean son of a bitch. All he did was, attack people and everything else. That's just not who I am. Not anymore.
We would like to close out tonight. We still have about 5 minutes or so, but talking about, like, we need to promote your YouTube channel, but I want you to give us a little insight to the individual that you are now working with, JV or Jim. Can you give an introduction, everyone, please?
Yeah, JV is actually he's a friend of mine who I used to do Beyond Reality Radio, a nationally syndicated radio show. We were on like 108 channels, and JV was my co-host on that as well. And JV and I met at an event, and he's going back almost 20 years ago. We were doing something at Rolling Hills, and we hit it off. And we both have similar interests, and we can also look at things differently. But it's also nice because he and I, we can bust on each other. We can have fun because we're friends, but also get the job done as well. And we both want to keep it real. And I think that's the most important thing. And I respect him for that. He respects me. And the nice thing is, it's like, we'll do a video and I'll be like, he'll send me his cut, or I'll send him my cut. And he'll be like, I don't really know if that should be in there. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever, fine. And vice versa. Yeah. So JV is a good guy. and he's fun to investigate with. Honestly, I've just known him for a long time. Our kids have grown up together, and yeah, so I think
Not
that's the best thing.
not
Go
having
ahead.
an enormous cast with you or crew with you, it also reduces contamination out there. It's just the two of you, right?
Yeah, it's just us. It's just him and me, and that's nice. And eventually, I would love to see about getting, Steve, Sherry, Dave, which I know they'd be out and be willing to investigate in a heartbeat. But of course, that takes more time, more finances, and because when we're filming for a TV show, the network's paying our hotels, they're paying for our travel, they're paying this. So that's important when we're doing it on our own. I mean, this is coming out of our pocket. This is costing us money. When I head to a location in New York, I'm paying for the gas, I'm paying for the stay, I'm paying for the food, I'm doing all that. So that stuff, I mean, it can be a financial burden. So of course, when you start bringing more and more people on, I can't sit there and expect everybody to, come on my YouTube thing and do a show with us and pay their own way in it. But so we'll see as time goes, as it grows, and I'd like to start bringing more and more people in, the kids and everything.
So this YouTube page, do you have is it just a random time you're going to post investigations? Do you have a schedule now where people are expect to see those investigations, or are you going to fill in with just some commentaries along the way also?
No, we've been usually posting a video every other Monday. So every other Monday at 8, like we've got Wilson Castle Part 1 coming out this Monday, and we'll have the second part of Wilson Castle coming out the following Monday. But usually it's every 2 weeks. So that gives us time to go and film the locations and then just throw them together and put them out there. But I mean, it's nice because people are able to hear everything, and we make sure of that. And we don't cut things out. We do stupid things. We'll make jokes with each other. I mean, Jim and I had a little contest of because I constantly joke with that he sounds like a truck, going through a China shop there, with his walking and stuff. And I'm very stealthy when I do it. So we had a little contest with that. We've got some other funny things coming up as well. But yeah, man, we just have fun. And I think that's what it's about. That's where doing the show is fun because I'm with people I love. And, but then again, it's also a job because I'm out there doing it. This is just us having fun and just, taking it easy and no pressure.
Don't stop. Keep it going because we all enjoy that. We still have you there for us as a spokesman of the paranormal. It's YouTube at Jason Hawes. Make sure you guys do check it out. And it's been an absolute pleasure having you again. Don't hang up, Jason. Thank you guys. Tomorrow night, we've got Town Hall on Patreon. We'll see you guys there. On behalf of Ken DaCosta, my name is George Lopez. Thank you again, Jason, for joining us. We'll see you guys next week. Until then, take care. Jason, don't hang up.
Yep. Thank you, everybody.